So I'm sure you have been briefed about the question I have, which is the question I asked you a year ago. You got a lot to keep up with. You did respond in a letter. I referenced in our conversation a New York Post article that talked about the number of firearms and munitions that you all have at the IRS and the number of armed agents. And it went through specific numbers: 3,832 handguns, 600 shotguns, 439 rifles, 15 fully automatic weapons. So it's very detailed. I don't know where they got their information. And I think an appropriate oversight role for us is to, as a check and balance, and for the purpose of transparency to the taxpayers and to the people that we report to in the people's house, that they ought to have some confirmation of whether or not those numbers are right or if they're different. You responded with a letter and said, the inventory of guns and ammunition is consistent with other law enforcement agencies. I find that an inadequate response. I think if the American people who we all work for ask as a check and as a point of accountability on agencies with tremendous power, and with tremendous power comes, I think, great responsibility and oversight and accountability, they deserve a specific answer. What's in the inventory? How many armed IRS agents? I'm not suggesting that there might not be some level of appropriateness, but just saying we keep up with the same standards of who? The FBI, the ATF, the Border Patrol? So I'm going to ask you again, do you have the specifics of firearms, the number of armed IRS agents, and the inventory of munitions? I think the American people ought to know that. And then we can discuss why you have it and why they exist and for what purpose. And again, there may be an appropriate need.
Yeah, I would love to answer this question. First of all, I do recall the letter. I believe the letter that we sent you had a link to a public report that has the information you requested. If it did not, then we will get you that public link. I added the point that it was consistent with other law enforcement after providing the data.